to that. Sam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's not gone down very well, has it, with the Coventry fans? I think it's fair to say it's absolute. I think Wikipedia pages have been hacked. There's pitchforks out. They're not happy, are they?
No.
At the end of the day, yeah, they obviously he's done so much for that club. He's taken them to the heights of where they are now in his second stint, and it is very difficult because you've got effectively a club legend there in terms of what he's done. And you can tell because there's such an outpouring of consistency from the Coventry fans. You usually, when there's a manager, it's usually a bit 50-50, isn't it? There's the some that don't, there's the some that do, but it seems to be pretty that they're absolutely fuming. And that the direction of the anger is towards the board. Seems to be that there's anger towards also some of the coaching staff. Bits I've seen of them as well, that the players haven't been consistent enough, not just this season, but I think probably since the turn of the year, to be fair, in the league. They had that really good run. And I will mention it because it's relevant today. Obviously, the FA Cup run last season took their eye off the ball a tad, I think, in terms of the league. But it seems to this season that the position isn't good enough. And it's just the odd time to do it as well, because they've had some ropey results. And I think as Ben said, they beat Middlesbrough 3-0. They've won 2 out of their last 3 games. So it almost suggests that he's on the start of a turnaround, and he's the manager that's got the proven record with the club of doing that. He's turned them around when they've struggled before and sort of earns that before. And so I like Mark Robins. He's obviously got some United connections as well from the past. I think he's well respected in the game as well. He's one of my favourite Robins, behind Robin van Persie and Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh, of course, legendary Robins. But I can see and understand the Coventry fans' anger and frustration with it. To play devil's advocate, the board have obviously looked at it and gone, we've spent quite a bit of money for a team, to be honest, that haven't had any parachute payments. When you compare them to those kind of teams, they have spent a number of money and they clearly want to get to the Premier League, and they're looking at it going, we're not making the strides that we're making. And unfortunately, the boards always take the same decision. They go for the manager. You can't sack all the players. You can't, I had the similar thing. Obviously, my team have just ditched their manager in the last couple of weeks, and there's a lot of anger towards the players there as well. And quite happy to get rid of about 10 to 20 of those. But it's what happens. It's that kind of case. So, yeah, I think disappointing. Obviously, the long tenure that he's had. I wouldn't want to be playing for Coventry if they start to play a bit trash in the next couple of weeks, because I think the fans will be straight at them. But it is not gone down well, and I think not just the 3 Coventry fans in the chat that we've had tonight, but also social media and everywhere else. It seems to be pretty unanimous that they're not a happy bunch.
Yeah, Simon's mentioned as well, he's obviously a Coventry fan. He's put, we'd been National League if it wasn't for Robins. Ben, have you got anything to say on the situation?
I'd probably go further, actually, and say that, if it weren't for Mark Robins, would Coventry still be in existence, to be honest? Because the job he's done there, if they dropped into non-league football, then I think, to be fair, I think they would very much have struggled to keep going as a football club, because it damages a lot of clubs, to be honest. And, Mark Robins took over when they were playing the games of likes, Birmingham and Northampton, and you think, there's just no light at the end of the tunnel. He persisted with it. And hello, man.
I just wanted to come on and talk about this subject, and then I will leave you to it.
Oh, okay.
I love the fact, Ant, that you just turned up as Amad Diallo scored for Man United. That's a sign. You bought me a goal from Amad Diallo just with your appearance.
He scored twice.
I know, you beautiful man.
Yeah, I think to be fair, he's done an unbelievable job there, Mark Robins. Look what he's done for that football club. He's taken them to the brink of the Premier League. They were a penalty shootout away, a few penalty kicks away from being a Premier League team. And obviously, like we say, we don't really want to mention it too much, obviously, but they put them right back on the map with their FA Cup run last year. And they were a good side last year. And they had a whole backing of the whole city. They did, and I love. I feel like Sam. I like Mark Robins. I think the way he came across when we went there last season, the FA Cup. He was so gracious, so humble, and I would have had a lot of time for him, to be honest. And, I think it just shows that the loyalty of football has just gone completely out of the window now. I mean, you know, as I think so was a footy fanatics bit there. Like, I think it's just 7 points off the playoffs. They're not in a bad way at the moment. Like I say, I know like I said, they've had a couple of ropey results, but how do you go from winning at Middlesbrough to sacking your manager, you know, in the space of a week? That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. If they were in a bad run of 6-7 games without a win, and you know they'd lost a good number of them, conceding a lot of goals, I'd get it. But you know, it's certainly not as terrible as what maybe their board are thinking. But I'm looking at maybe, like I say, in Sam's perspective, as look, they spend a lot of money. There's probably a lot of pressure on him to go up this year. You know, how much they might lose if they don't go up, because we saw that with Leeds United, didn't we? I mean, like they were putting themselves under a lot of pressure after you know, losing the playoff final last season, and it's, you know, put them on the back foot a little bit. But obviously they have reacted to it, and obviously it's gone the other way a little bit for Coventry. And I feel for, you know, the fans, to be honest, a little bit there, because it'd be interesting to see now what direction they go in, because you know Mark Robins has a certain way of playing for so long. And, you know, he's brought an identity to that football club, and it's just been, you know, diminished now. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they get on against, I mean, whoever's top of the league of championship at the moment. So, oh, is that you, man? Is it? Oh, sorry.
And have yours there. You've come on especially to chat about this subject, so you go for it. Is it a rant? Is it an ant rant?
Nah, it's not a rant. It's not a rant. I did have a rant.
Right, I removed you now.
What it was about. I did have a rant. I can't remember what it was. You know what it is? I can see it from both sides. I can see what everyone's saying. He has done a fantastic job, don't get us wrong, and he's a really, really good manager. But, and there's a but to this, last season, obviously, the FA, I think the FA Cup, as what was said before, it has put them back on the map. But for me, I think they took that FA Cup and thought, right, this is our big chance. And it sacrificed the league position a little bit. And they never got in the playoffs last year. And for me, that put so much like pressure on them starting well this season. And Coventry have always been like poor starters to a season. They have. And it's just, for me, it's kind of not got any better for them this year. I know they've won a few games lately, and they beat Borough away and all that stuff, but they've not looked the same like this year since last year. I'm saying that they'll hammer us on Saturday. You can see it in the stars now that a managerless Coventry, we've not beaten them for neck end of 18 years. They'll hammer us. You know what I mean? But I think it's a result. The problem is it's a results-driven business, and we all know what's the holy grail: get out of this league, get into the Premier League. And they've seen it now that they probably saw that the board seen it. Are we going to do that with Robins, or are we going to get someone else in because there's still plenty of games left? Is it going to be, you know, we're going to get someone in, you know, get that new manager bounce or whatever it is, hopefully get into the playoffs, because the league's still really, really tight, bar us. And then, you know, hope for the best. The problem is I've got as well, and, you know, I know Simon mentioned the same thing regarding us last year. Who's going to want to go there? Because there isn't an awful lot of money. There's obviously now, there's no loyalty at all. And whoever goes in now is going to face an immediate backlash from the fans if he doesn't get off to a very good start, because obviously Coventry fans wouldn't have wanted Robins gone. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think I can see it from both sides, but you've got to also look at, like, as what Footy Fanatics mentioned there, they've lost Callum O'Hare, they've lost Gus Hamer, and the big one, they've lost Fickley Gyökeres. And we've seen on Tuesday how good Fickley Gyökeres is. You know, he scored a hat-trick against the best team in the world, and he's a phenomenal footballer. And you don't recover from losing a player as good as that. It takes you 2 or 3 years anyway. So, I don't know. I think, for me, I would probably write Coventry off now for this season and give them, you know, give them this year to start again, hopefully get the right man in, and then see what they're going to do next year. But Mark Robins will walk in any other managerial job in this country. You know what I mean? You know, championship level and below, he will walk in. You know, whichever job comes available next, he'll automatically be favourites. But I think he'll probably take a little bit of time. He's been there for God knows how long. He's been there since 2017, I think. So, you know, he's been there a long time. He might want to take, you know, a little bit of time to do himself and everything, but he'll walk into another job. The big win of this will be Mark Robins.
Oh, I just feel really sad. I just feel like it's the end of an era.
Well, he was the longest serving manager in the Football League. Well, like obviously not the Premier League and all that, but in the Football League, longest serving manager. The second only is the guy at Harrogate, isn't he? But his doesn't count as
Simon Weaver,
Weaver.
Jen, do you have any thoughts on this?
I just feel like there's no like loyalty in football anymore. Like everyone else has said, like they're not like bottom of the table. Like if you're comparing it to Morecambe, like we're like bottom of the table and our manager's going nowhere. It's like you need to stick by him and support him because obviously like it's hard in the Championship. Like it's his hardest league to be in, hands down. Like to try and get promoted from that takes some money, takes real good players to get out of that league. So I do feel bad that he has been like let go because like everyone said, he's only 6-7 points off the playoff. It's not like they're rock bottom and they've lost 6, 7, 8 games. Like they're winning games, like they're more than good enough to get into the Premier League. And I just feel like the owner, the backroom staff, anyone behind the scenes just hasn't really got faith in him or really understands the fans in the club. Like a lot of us say our clubs are like family, and it feels like behind the scenes now it's more like a business than thinking about what the fans want and what the fans really deserve. And to let go of Matt Robbins is just ridiculous. And I just feel like going into the weekend now, like the fans are going to be on something, like they're going to be mad, and if they don't get a win, it's going to turn nasty fast.
Oh, I'm proper sad.
Can I just reply to Stevie Lee's comment? That's Luke's down the Coventry one. What was their aim? Guarantee your promotion, 100%. Because obviously they were a penalty kick away 2 years ago from getting into the Premier League. Last year, like I say, I think they prioritised the cup run because they got into a good run, and then obviously no disrespect to Maidstone, who had a wonderful run, but they saw that as was that the quarterfinals, Ben? That one.
That was the 5th round. It was
5th round, yeah. So they saw that as getting into the quarterfinals, and they beat Wolves, was it?
Wolves,
to Manchester United, playing a Man U team who, as Sam will probably agree to, is this who were a little bit, off and on last year.
Shaky,
yeah. They must have thought that, we could get the FA Cup finally, and I think they've sacrificed league position there because they were a little bit off anyway. But Coventry normally come with a late run, but once that happened, and kind of I would assume, the way it happened, we're not getting into the VAR stuff because it was 7 months ago, but I would say this year would be at least playoffs, but automatic. And the fact is now we're 14 games in and they're nowhere near. I know that 7 points doesn't sound huge, but you've got to be winning there 4 or 5 games more than the rest of the rest of the teams who are already pushing for playoffs, and there's teams in better form than Coventry at the moment. I think they will turn it around, but for me, I think there's a lot more going on there than meets the eye. I think a lot of stuff going behind Robinson's back. He lost his assistant, didn't he, in the summer, which I think's not done wonders, to be honest. And they brought in other players, this, that, and the other. Let's see what happens with him. But yeah, it is sad. It's sad for him, I think. I feel really bad for him because I think he's done a fantastic job, but he'll get another job, no problem.
I think just to add as well, I think it's really tough. The fans are feeling having a manager for that long, which most teams and clubs don't have. That there's no one gets that long now. 6-7 years is almost unheard of. To have someone that's been there and been the institution of your club for that long, the attachments are insane. Like I can only compare it to say, obviously, I had Sir Alex Ferguson for that long, crazy period, and when they leave, it's just like there's a hole, there's a gap, there's a feeling that it's just not right. It's not what you're used to, particularly when you still love that manager. There's a period we've all had it. We've fallen out of love with a manager. It's not right, and you kind of enjoy the fresh start. But when you do have that feeling of love for it, then you love your club, and they're part of that. And suddenly to you know, it may only hit some of them when they look at the touchline at the weekend and he's not there, and they'll be like, this just doesn't kind of feel right. So it's a tough one probably for them to process because of how quickly it's happened as well, because they wouldn't have expected it to happen this week. You know, if you'd have said going into that Derby game, having beat Middlesbrough 3-0 at the weekend, it'd be like, well, there's no way Robbins is getting sacked this week. And even the way they lost to Derby wasn't like they got battered, was it? It was just, yeah, so a real shocker probably for them to contend with. But
it's probably a shock for like the whole country as well. So you look at, like, I'm just like having a quick look on the odds, and it's 4-1 the field, and if Frank Lampard's the favourite, I mean, if I was a Coventry fan, I'd be literally like worried shitless.
He was linked with Roma last week. Christ,
yeah, he was, wasn't he? Yeah. Well, you've got like the next best, like 6-1. You got 10-1s. There's like not an immediate favourite, so I wonder if they are going to take the time in you know, making a decision, and maybe they might look abroad and look at like a young manager, you know, something like that, something completely different to what Robbins was.
I love it as well. When we're all having a really serious moment, there's always someone in the chat who pulls them at random. And Sean's done it this week. He's put, and I agree, it is a northern thing because I do it all the time. Yeah. But Jen, can I ask you a question? Is saying like a lot a northern thing? It is because I do it too.
Yeah, it's just northern, just northern people.
Jen's middle name.
Yeah, like
Jen Lycunt.
Yeah, might as well at this point.
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
He's abroad.
Is he abroad?
Mm.
There is a manager free at the minute.
Southgate.
Yeah.
Ten Hag.
Yeah.
That'd be thinking after all that VAR chat, weren't it? Ten Hag comes in.
That would be ironic, wouldn't it? If I got 10 Hag. But no, I mean, you mentioned Southgate, and I don't think it would be Southgate, but on the England front, Lee Carsley.
A bit past him.
Might be a shout. You know what I mean? I think that would be quite a clever appointment, to be totally honest with you. But I agree with what Simon's saying. Now I think they'll get a head coach next, like, you know, and I think it'll probably be someone we've never heard of from some league in Italy or France or whatever, because that seems to be the in thing now, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like getting someone else who don't think anyone has really heard of, who has done well at a youth team level or whatever. Oh, crazy.
I love Luke. Honestly,
I mean, I'm immediately ruling myself out of it, Char. Just for no, I don't want to go to Coventry.
It's a bit of a commute for you, to be fair, Ant.
Yeah, it's a long way.